Hi, everybody. Thank you for participating at this webinar. And we are going to focus and look into developments in blockchain and cryptocurrencies. So on regular basis, we have these webinars trying to highlight what is the latest in this area. And I have here a little reminder. The age of Aquarius is upon us. We are moving into the age of Aquarius if we were to go really out there at planets alignment and the universe. And the age of Aquarius is defined by taking personal ownership of our lives and of everything we do. So, and this is in very good alignment with what is happening in this world, including blockchain and cryptocurrencies. It's along the lines of us recognizing that educating ourselves is one of the most important things, and education across the board, career-wise, history, understanding how things work. So let's have this perspective as we look at developments latest in blockchain and cryptocurrencies. And we should start with the big picture. We hear more and more about the new world order. Sorry, I'm noticing a spelling error right now. And I invite you to watch this YouTube that was put together by Ray Dalio that talks about the big cycles at humanity level, the cycles that change the world. And this is one of the resources that is helping us understanding that we are at the end of one cycle and we are in initial stages of a new cycle. Again, this affects all aspects of life, including finance, money, the way we do businesses. And that's where blockchain technology is coming into place. As you'll notice throughout the presentation, this webinar in particular, it's a strong invitation about you doing your own research. I'm going to provide a lot of links, and if anything triggers your interest and your curiosity, please go ahead and go deeper on any of these rabbit holes. In the big context of the new world order, as I mentioned, one thing that is very much affected is our finance, our concept of money, and the situation in the financial system. And here I have a quote from Michael Saylor, the CEO of MicroStrategy. And this is relevant for the discussion and the topic today because Michael Saylor decided quite some time ago to move the balance sheet of his business on Bitcoin. He was one of the first CEOs to do this, and now more and more businesses are moving their balance sheet in Bitcoin. It was not an easy transition. It was a lot of work with the board, the accountants, the lawyers, the employees, but it was done, and it was done pretty fast, more than a year ago. And I'm going to read, this quote from him. How long is your company going to last on a currency that is hyperinflating? Not 5 years. How long is your company last on a currency like the US dollar? US dollar lost 99.5% of its value over 80 years. That doesn't work as a foundation, as a balance sheet. Bitcoin represents a liquid, fungible, synthetic asset that you can use to build a balance sheet for your family, your company, or country. You can move it anywhere. It doesn't degrade. The maintenance cost is lower than any other form of asset. And if you know that you are building on a firm foundation, you can look at 100 years or 1,000 years. And that is a profound idea. All right. So he's making the case that in the current financial system, it's very hard to do any kind of planning at personal level or at business level. Continuing the few aspects about the new world order, let's channel that big picture more directly towards blockchain and cryptocurrency. We hear more and more about central bank digital currency. And here I have some pointers for you to go on any of these rabbit holes and do your own research to get a feel of the amount of development, I would say extraordinary amount of development at top of the world level, starting with World Economic Forum, International Monetary Fund, Bank of International Settlements, coming down to United States, and here we talk about our central bank, Federal Reserve Bank. All these are just a short snippet of, again, the extraordinary effort being done at very high level to bring on central bank digital currency. This is blockchain technology that the central banks are targeting to change how the money works. And just to make sure that we understand the level, let's touch base just a little bit on the global debt-based fiat system that is being used today. All right. So I mentioned World Economic Forum, International Monetary Fund, Bank of International Settlements. The Bank of International Settlements is the central bank of central banks. What exactly does this mean? It means that it has jurisdiction, it has power over all the other central banks. What exactly does it mean? This link contains a list directly from the Bank of International Settlements showing that any country in the world is tied into this network, minus North Korea, Iran. It used to be Cuba. I believe now Cuba is also integrated. So Bank of International Settlements has power over Federal Reserve. This is the Central Bank of United States, European Central Bank, Bank of Japan, People Banks of China, Australian Central Bank, Russian Central Bank, and on and on. And I just started just creating a little bit, direction underneath ours, the central bank in United States, under Federal Reserve Bank, we have the big banks, JP Morgan, Citibank, and on and on. And underneath them, we have all the banking system down to your neighborhood credit union. The same thing, the same hierarchy is in Europe. You have Deutsche Bank, and I don't know, Bank of France and Italy, and all the way down to the branches that we walk into and we use them, and on and on. So I also want to comment on this word, global debt-based fiat system. First, global, it's global, as we can see. Debt-based. This means that the units of currencies that we use today, US dollar, British pound, euro, yen, they are debt-based. That means at their issuance, the issuance is in debt that has to be paid back with interest. $1, when $1 is created, it is actually debt, and if you look, it's a bank note, Federal Reserve note. Note is an instrument of debt. It has to be paid back with interest, but the currency to pay the interest is not there, so which means that you need to create even more, all right? Because of this, there is a mathematical certainty that the debt-based systems are doomed to end at one point. And then fiat means that is per rules of the authorities. The authorities decided that this is what we use as currency, and that's we are all doing. And global, you see the little representation of the global fiat system. It is also something that we need to remind ourselves that as of now, the US dollar is the world reserve currency to keep in mind. Okay, so moving towards another important development that, again, it's not very recent. It happened over quite some time, that somehow has to do with the transition to central bank digital currencies using blockchain technology. We want to mention the ISO 20022, all right? You can look it up. And what is it? It's basically is a messaging system, and it is prepared by the International Standard Organization. Of course, it has to do with the financial services, and it's a way to ensure the payments within different currencies, right? It's basically the new generation of SWIFT, right? SWIFT is the current mechanism, the current messaging system when you need to do cross-border payments, and anybody who had to wire to a different jurisdiction, to a different country, had to put in there some SWIFT codes, all right? The SWIFT system is in its late stages, and this is recognized, and in comes the new messaging system that is based on this new standard. Actually, all the banks in the Eurozone were supposed to transition to the new standard by November 2021, but it was moved to November 2022. We'll see how this will evolve. Okay, so of course the intention is for the this new ISO 20022 standard to be the global standard for large payments, and it is being mentioned again in all the articles, all the position papers, working groups that have to do with the transition of the whole financial system. In the Federal Reserve Financial Stability Report, it is mentioned the intention of having a single day migration in November 2023. Again, these are plans, these are intentions, but everything is moving towards using blockchain technology across the board. It looks like this is a migration that will take some time, but the adoption and usage of this new standard is increasing. As of the time when I put together the presentation, the number that I found was 70 countries. And here you have again some links to get to go a little deeper. I didn't put in here as a link, but you can do a search and you can go directly on the ISO website and read everything about 20022. Coming down to even more relevant details about this standard and developments on cryptocurrencies, we know that there are already a few cryptocurrencies that are compliant with the new standard. And as we look into this information, we realize that this is something that these organizations were aware of for many years. So the development and refinements and updates on the ISO standard actually were followed, and the companies behind these cryptocurrencies started and they did the development of these cryptocurrencies being aware of the new standard. So now they are compliant, and they are in position to really implement the standard and to be there in implementation of the new financial system. And one of them, one of the companies is Ripple. The token that they use is XRP. They are already positioned to be a leading global payment network. If you go on their website, you see an extraordinary adoption, not only in terms of number of countries, but also in terms of financial institutions that we know of, like credit cards, Visa, MasterCard, and on and on. Here is a YouTube describing a little more in detail how Ripple is positioned to be right there if the powers that be decide that, okay, now we change. So they are ready to be used. Oh, talking about XRP, some people may come back and say, Adina, but there is this discussion and this thing going on with Security and Exchange Commission. Yes, it's true. We will see how that goes. It looks like things will settle, things will clarify, and XRP is going to be very relevant in what is coming. The other cryptocurrencies that are compliant with ISO 20022 standard are XLM, XDC, Algo, IOTA. And I'm going to come back to show you a little more how a possible transition is already there and it is already being used. But again, the SWIFT system has increased challenges, and cryptos and the new standards are now being prepared to take over. Between the time I finalized this presentation and today, we also notice when it comes to the SWIFT system and the global Fiat system, we are all aware of the sanctions that were imposed on Russia. They were cut off the SWIFT system, including not them, the Russian not being able to access their currency that is in other banks outside Russia. So, and when it comes with the economic aspects of the sanctions, Russia said that we are going to sell our natural gas and we want to be paid in ruble or gold or Bitcoin. So we'll see how that goes, but things are changing. Another relevant information as of today about the SWIFT system, I invite you to do a search with keywords SWIFT, sanctions, Russia, map. And you will bring up a map with the countries that agree with the sanctions against Russia when it comes Russia being cut off SWIFT system. And then the countries who did not say, yes, we agree with these sanctions. So the countries that agree with the sanctions are North America, Europe, Australia, Japan. Everybody else didn't say anything about sanctions because they are interested to continue their economic transactions with Russia. This is food for thought, and this is something that makes us think about US dollar still being able to be world reserve currency, while now you have active trade between Russia and China in ruble and yuan, including the blockchain version of yuan that is e-yuan. And not only, China and Russia, but Brazil and Saudi Arabia and, many other countries. That map is very interesting. So let's look at how ISO 2002 implementations will change the current dynamics and the current setup in the financial system. This page is taken directly from the Stellar website. Stellar is the name of the blockchain that is, if we go back, it was on the list for cryptocurrencies that already compliant with the ISO 20022 standard. XLM is the cryptocurrency on that blockchain. And without going into too many details, this is current, in transition, so to speak, image. And what we want to notice here is one currency that needs to go through another, to change into another currency. And in here, we notice a bunch of financial institutions on the sender side, on the receiver side, and somebody in the middle, the intermediary bank, because let's also make sure that we are all on the same page. With the SWIFT system in place, another thing that was achieved is reinforcing the fact that US dollar is world reserve currency. What does it mean? any time when two countries needed to exchange payments, let's say Brazil with, I don't know, Nigeria, or Italy with Nigeria, or Brazil, or Argentina. Every time they had to exchange payments, they couldn't do directly in their currencies. They had to go through US dollar, all right? So all these financial institutions mean a long time for the payment to be settled, a lot of opportunities for error, a lot of taxes to be paid to all these financial institutions, including the ones that, like US dollar representatives, that in a way have nothing to do with that particular transaction. Of course, it is very lucrative for all these financial institutions. So this is pretty much the current picture. And putting this or parts of these payments on blockchain, the Stellar is replacing those intermediary financial institutions with blockchain technology. And it goes from one currency, Stellar blockchain, another currency. Of course, it's much faster. Of course, it's more reliable. Of course, is censorship resistant, and all the benefits of the blockchain technology. Again, another rabbit hole. If you're interested, go on their website and read everything and learn about XLM, Stellar and XLM. So let's look at a story that it feels relevant in this world, in this big transition type of world that we are living in. And I want to bring up and tell you the story about Veritasium. Veritas in Latin means truth. So here we have this guy, Reggie Middleton. He's a finance guy. He is very good at a very good analyst, and he predicted many events in the financial system, and he can see through challenges and solid background. In 2013, he founded Veritasium, because after discovering blockchain technology with his financial background, he realized that he can develop peer-to-peer capital markets. So instead of going through these centralized institutions, instead of having a lot of people involved directly into how the markets are working, all this could be put as logic on blockchain, move it into all that logic, move it into software, and have direct peer-to-peer interactions, peer-to-peer exchanges, which is a huge, qualitative step in terms of innovation and the way we do things. All right. So having logic on blockchain, this is basically the definition of smart contracts, because a business logic that has if this, then else, like all this set of rules that are associated with any type of business, is basically a contract. And we have the concept of smart contracts. So he founded the company, but then in 2019, the Security and Exchange Commission came really, really hard on Veritasium, with a lot of consequences, freezing the asset, confiscating the very tokens, and it was not very clear why this very strong reaction, right? So many people came out in support of Reggie. Again, I invite you to go on this rabbit hole, do your searches on YouTube and in general on any browser, and find out more if you are interested. Relevant for the discussion today is that there is this concept of moving capital markets and stock exchanges on a decentralized environment, which is very powerful, right? Again, taking off plate all the fees and taxes of all these intermediaries and have the markets freely operate, right? Directly peer to peer. So after quite some time of litigations and pretty ugly situation, all of the sudden in December 2021, Reggie was awarded a patent for decentralized finance, a patent that he applied for in 2015, all right? Previously, in 2013, Japan already awarded the decentralized finance to Reggie. So what does this mean? We don't know yet, but it's another move that could be very significant in allowing blockchain technology to move into the current setup, the current implementation of capital markets, into how these financial institutions are operating. Okay, so it's something that it may be interesting to watch how these things will evolve. One thing for sure, everything that we see in the current financial system, all the challenges will be all of the sudden eliminated if this thing takes off, if it's allowed to further being developed, right? There are prototypes and there are working models of peer-to-peer capital markets. It's not that it's just an idea. It's right there, in a way ready to be used. So it's interesting. We touched on decentralized finance. Let's recap. What exactly is decentralized finance? Is moving on blockchain, everything that we see around us in terms of finance, right? Stock exchanges instead of Fidelity as a centralized institution. Now you have Fidelity on blockchain. And by the way, Fidelity is one of the big adopters of blockchain technology. They are mining Bitcoin since, I'm thinking, 2013. So quite some time ago. They are not very talkative about this, but they are watching the space and they have their big groups of development. Okay, so decentralized finance started getting traction lately, and when I say lately, I'm thinking about 1+ almost 2 years ago. And I have here a snapshot of the development related to decentralized finance. 100 decentralized finance coins, all right? And we have 100+ billions of dollars, right? And most of the decentralized finance applications are being done on Ethereum blockchain. So food for thought, things are moving. There is more and more adoption of decentralized finance. And let me give you examples of use cases and why people are so excited about starting using actually decentralized finance. You have decentralized platform, and you go in there, you can put your cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Digibyte, uh, you have a selection of your cryptocurrency, and you could get an instant credit card, credit line in fiat. So you borrow against yourself, no other intermediaries. You see exactly the terms related to this agreement, and then you start paying back yourself. All right. So this brings a lot of power at individual level, and this is just one of the use cases. Another thing that is very much needed and is part of big developments in this month and this year is interoperability. Okay, so you have all these blockchains, right? And there is more and more need to have cross-chains transactions, which means interoperability between the blockchains. Cosmos and its cryptocurrency, Cosmos is a blockchain. It's an actually ecosystem. The cryptocurrency associated with Cosmos blockchain is called Atom. And I am just copying an image from their website just to highlight the again, extraordinary development and the use cases around Cosmos ecosystem. So we have all kinds of services. We have finance, we have smart contracts, we have privacy, we have infrastructure. So in each of these areas, you see all these little other names. All these are companies that are developing in this particular use case. All these, for instance, are related to infrastructure. All these are related to services and on, right? So the need for communicating with each other, right? In creating more and more services and products for the clients, it's obvious. And Cosmos is one of the platforms that are positioning themselves very well in the interoperability space. And here is another snapshot that has to do with Cosmos. And the Cosmos Hub is one of them. But then you have all these zones that are representative of other blockchain. And the way to communicate between each other is with IBC Internet Blockchain. This is the acronym for Internet Blockchain, which again, it's a protocol and a way to define really well how the communication in an interoperability world could be possible. And again, these are not just ideas. These are implementations and not even ready to go. These are things that are active and operational. And of course, there is a ton more development that is still being done. But as they say, the train left the station, and it's up to us if we consider jumping on the train or if we still wait, thinking about it. So what do we see in here? Cosmos, I mentioned internet, blockchain, IPFS has to do with exchange of data. including outside Earth boundaries. We see legacy systems and connecting the legacy systems with the blockchain. So very exciting developments. So in a shorter list, other highlights that we want to mention are the significant developments that are coming on the Ethereum blockchain is the transition from proof of work to proof of stake. And the logistics, the way that ETH tokens are going to be handled, many people are associating this change with triple halving for Ethereum. The halving concept, it's coming from Bitcoin. Every 4 years, the issuance, the amount of Bitcoins being issued to the miners every time a block gets appended to the blockchain is cut in half. This is the deflationary nature of Bitcoin. Because of this, every halving event was noted to generate increase and spectacular appreciation in the price of Bitcoin, not immediately, but a couple of months down the road. The change from proof of work to proof of stake for Ethereum, the analysts, people that are looking and trying to draw conclusions across the board related to this event is associating with like a triple halving. We see more and more new payment systems. And again, I put here some YouTubes. We already mentioned XRP and Algo in the context of the ISO 20022 standard, all right? They are again being used. They are, you know, active, and the customers are very happy. And it is not included in this list, but I should tell you the story about Bitcoin and Lightning Network payments. So, and you know, I can provide you details. Feel free to contact me and I can tell you more. But these days, Bitcoin blockchain with its Lightning network layer that ensures fast and reliable and very small amounts in terms of payments. This is active. And again, it's on top of Bitcoin blockchain. So you have fiat, you want to send US dollar to be received in, I don't know what other currency. You use this network and it goes fast on Bitcoin blockchain network. And we saw example starting actually 2 years ago, and that was one of the triggers that convinced the authorities in El Salvador to make Bitcoin legal tender. But recently you had a transaction that was initiated in Miami at the Bitcoin conference this past weekend, went on the Bitcoin network, and in Ukraine, was Ukraine or somebody in Poland, I'm forgetting, right? Received the currency, you know, like in a minute or 2 minutes. So anyway, it's spectacular and it's what people want and need. Moving on from payment system, we have other big developments in decentralized video stream, right? video streaming is more and more used. At the same time, you have these bottlenecks of where the videos are collected and then redistributed. These are bottlenecks, and these um, central points are really hard to scale up. Now everybody wants to communicate, and again, the constraints are significant. Doing this in a decentralized manner, you don't have these issues. You can scale up. Theta is well positioned to do that, but they are going into other places aside from just decentralized video stream. They are moving into metaverse, and now it's, in their world, it's this big explosion and big excitement related to NFTs. Again, NFT, let's unpack. NFT is the acronym for non-fungible tokens. And you probably heard about NFTs in general. What I'm saying here is Theta is one of the companies that are moving into NFTs, and they are very successful in doing that. Also related to NFT and blockchain adoption in general, you have this kind of no-brainer use case to move all real estate transactions on blockchain. Propi started doing this for 4 years, 5 years, for a while. And they were very successful in moving more and more of the real estate transaction on blockchain. They had many transactions, real estate transactions. And recently, they started creating NFTs for real estate. The way they do it, they package real estate, putting all the information about that particular condo or single family home, and they wrap it in an NFT, and then they have an auction. So recently I saw information from them. They had an auction in Florida for a condo, 1 bedroom, 1 bath, and the person who won the auction paid 200 something Fiat. So it's there. These things are active, and we should be aware. Part of the journey of becoming more and more familiar with blockchain, we want to acknowledge that stepping into this world means also learning the new language. And I have here some examples of language that sometimes is being confused, and it's useful if we take the time to, again, educate ourselves, to have as much clarity as possible related to the words that we use. Distributed ledger technology, DLT, right? This is many times being used intermixed with the word blockchain, all right? Which is kind of true, but there is a distinction. Distributed ledger technology, bare bones, is just a distributed database, which is very good because you have greater transparency, right? And again, you eliminate single points of failure. So this is a good thing. Now, on top of it, you can create a chain of blocks, and hence blockchain word, that are connected to each other in a very special way that has to do with a cryptographic signature. So the resilience of blockchain in general is ensure that the transactions that are being stored in each block and the connection between blocks ensures that nobody can muck with the blockchain. Nobody can change anything on blockchain. And the important piece of understanding of knowledge is this hash, is the cryptographic signature. As we said before in other contexts, many of the concepts related to blockchain were not invented one of the sudden in October 2008 when Satoshi Nakamoto posted the white paper. So many of this, all of those were bits and pieces of cryptographic and computer science knowledge well known. It's just that they came together. Hash is one of those things that it's being used for many years to ensure the security of content. And let me give you an example. I have a Word document or this presentation, and I want to make sure that nobody is changing anything on the presentation, on that Word document. Well, I put the Word document as input to a hash function, and the result is a long string of characters, letters, and digits that is uniquely associated with the content of my paper. All right? So now, if somebody is giving me a copy of my paper and they assure me that, oh yeah, nothing is changed, everything is fine, the way for me to validate this is to run it through hash, right? And if the signature, if the result is different, it means that somebody changed something in my paper. And I am talking a letter from uppercase to lowercase. I am talking about a space from one to make it double. I mean, it doesn't matter, okay? So hash as concept is important, and this is why blockchain is so resilient. This is why Bitcoin blockchain was never changed. So it's very reliable. Continuing the discussion about concepts, the word cryptocurrency, if we were to follow the thorough definition, is the currency that is supporting a particular blockchain. Bitcoin is supporting Bitcoin blockchain. Ethereum is supporting Ethereum blockchain. Litecoin blockchain. Digibyte blockchain, and on and on. Now, you could have other implementations, other cryptocurrencies on the same blockchain, and all these extras usually are being called tokens. For example, on the Ethereum blockchain, you have a bunch of ERC20 tokens. For NFTs implementation, you use tokens that comply with a slightly different protocol. Okay, so words, cryptocurrency, tokens, and then the concept of stable coins. The stable coins are being created in this transition from fiat to cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrency world, as of now, it still feels like a Wild West with a lot of volatility in pricing. So people feel that the stability is in fiat, all right? And in short term, we could argue that yes, fiat is maintaining stability. And I don't want to go to purchasing power, but you know, that's another thing for us to consider. So anyway, stable coins. And you have this cryptographic representation of US dollar, British pound, Australian dollar, fiat in general. And you can see this on exchanges. The way this is being implemented, you create the cryptocurrency and you back it by some asset, right? It could be fiat, it could be a commodity. You have cryptocurrencies that are pegged with gold, for instance, or you can do this algorithmically. You can also have stable coins that are backed by other cryptocurrencies, right? For instance, DAI, it's a cryptocurrency that is backed by other cryptocurrencies. Okay, algorithmically, you have UST, Terra stable coins that is backed by it's backed by algorithmically. Okay, and now continuing on the theme of Age of Aquarius and you doing your own research, I want to show you, where is it? Let's see. I want to show you and do a demo with a place that it's called Gecko. All right, I hope you see my screen. Okay, and Gecko, the link, the URL is coingecko.com, is a place where you have a snapshot of cryptocurrency world. And what do we see? We see that as of today, we have 13,000 plus, 13,672 coins, cryptocurrencies. We see that the market capitalization of cryptocurrency is about almost $2 trillion. All right. And here, I skipped exchanges. We have 99 exchanges, all right? And we have the dominance of Bitcoin and Ethereum and all other information. And here we have the list of all 13,000 cryptocurrencies. So starting with Bitcoin is sorted by the market capitalization, all right? And we go on and on. We heard about XRP in our discussions today. All right. So then you ask me, yes, and then what? Well, just clicking on the menus on this website, right? It could take you places, but I want to stay here for a little while. So let's say that I click on Ethereum and each of the coins are hyperlinked to another page where you could see more information about that particular coin. We see the price, and here on the right side, you see the website. Explorer, this is visibility into the Ethereum blockchain. So that's the transparency aspect. Okay, so you could, if you know a public address, you put it in there and you see all the transactions that happen with that public address. And here, this is your opportunity to get in touch with the community, right? Follow them or just sign up for their publications, anything you want to do. All right, that's your opportunity. Scrolling down on each of the pages, every coin has a similar page, right? You could see, for instance, the charts, right? If I put on max, max has to do with the price since its inception, right? we see the price movements. And then we talked about exchanges. I'm scrolling down to go to exchanges, and I click on see all trading pairs. And now I have all the exchanges. Where is it? Oh, what's happening? I don't know what's happening. Markets. It's loading because it's too big. Sorry, it was not me. It was them. All right. Here is an opportunity for all of us to start changing the mindset from fiat into cryptocurrencies. This is truly multipolar world, because if I'm just thinking the trading pairs with Ethereum, what do we see? We see Ethereum with Bitcoin, and here are the list of exchanges. We see Ethereum with USDT. This is a stable coin. We see Ethereum with fiat. This is US dollar, this is euro, this is Japanese yen, and on and on. I want to look at other pairs. Just a lot of stable coins and fiat. This is another fiat USDC coin. BNT, this is the token associated with this network. Again, it's many-to-many combination. This is with Aave. This is another cryptocurrency coin. Singaporean dollars. This is fiat. Solana and Ethereum. This is crypto to crypto, and on and on. I hope you get the picture, going back to why may be worth investing time into educating ourselves, right? Another important menu that you may consider is categories. If I click on categories, I have here all kinds of grouping. Smart contracts, Polygon ecosystem. We talked about Cosmos ecosystem. That's another one. This has to do with Binance, which is a huge exchange. Stable coins, right? We talked about stable coins. I click on them, and here I have a huge list of stable coins, right? And I could further click on each of them and learn more. All right. This is, we mentioned about parity with gold, and on and on. And I think I will stop here and allow some time for questions.
Yes, one question. How does the ultimate end to mining of coins play out in all of this?
So there are two ways of building a blockchain, like two major ways: proof of work or proof of stake. And proof of stake has many flavors. Proof of work means doing the very difficult computer intensive, algorithm intensive work of guessing a portion of the hash that it's allowed to append a new block of transactions to the old block. And that's mining. It's called mining. All right. And hearing ultimate end takes me to the fact that Bitcoin is only 21 million units. By now, we reached the 19 million Bitcoins already mined. So that's what it makes me think about. When
she did, or not to interrupt, she did write, oh, she said, got it. Yeah, she wrote finite number of coins. So I think you answered her question.
Okay, yes, yeah. And that's where it is expected to really, and as I start saying this, I'm already taking back. So because we know for sure that time frames to build up the Bitcoin blockchain, we know that the last Bitcoin will be mined in 20,100, something like that. Okay, so we still have a long time because the amount of Bitcoins that are issued are less and less every 4 years, as we discussed. At the same time, there is increased probability of Bitcoin stability price if more and more nation states or more and more big time transactions like across the globe will start using Bitcoin.
Adina, thank you so much for presenting with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.